I want you to picture someone with me, Margaret. 72 years old, Pilates instructor for 15 years, never smoked, perfect BMI. She ran 5Ks for fun, ate organic, did everything right. And then one day, her knees started to scream. Not from running too hard, not from an injury, but from something so ordinary that she'd been doing it every single morning for 2 decades without thinking twice about it. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what damaged Margaret's joints. And more importantly, you'll learn 5 specific habits that can either protect or destroy yours. This isn't a fitness video. This is what I've watched happen in operating rooms and in the lives of patients after 60, year after year. I'm Dr. William Cooper. I've watched people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s recover from surgeries they were told would be impossible. But here's what nobody tells you. What I've learned about inflammation, about joint degeneration, about the way the body ages, it doesn't come from cardiology alone. It comes from watching patterns. Thousands and thousands of patterns. After 60, your joints aren't the same. And what you're about to hear isn't what most doctors say at your checkup, because most doctors don't have time to connect these dots. Let me explain what happens to your body after 60. You've probably heard the phrase getting older so many times that it means nothing, but what actually happens is specific, measurable, real. Your joints are covered with cartilage, a slippery, durable substance that acts like a shock absorber. It's like the padding in a good pair of shoes. For decades, it holds up beautifully. But after 60, something shifts. Your body stops making as much of the proteins and compounds that maintain that cartilage. The inflammation in your body, not the kind you can see, but the kind that burns silently in your tissues, begins to accelerate. This isn't a disease, it's a change. A predictable biochemical change. Think of it like a house that's been standing for 60 years. The foundation is still there, the structure is intact, but the grout between the bricks is beginning to crack. Water starts to seep in. Small problems become big ones. That's inflammation after 60. It's silent, it's cumulative, and it's driven by 5 habits that most people over 60 are practicing every single day without realizing the damage. The good news, and I want you to hear this clearly, is that your body, even after 60, has an astonishing capacity to heal. It doesn't rebuild overnight, but it does rebuild. I've seen it, in the operating room and in life. Here's habit number 1. And this one is deceptively simple because it seems like nothing. Chronic dehydration. Not the kind where you collapse on a hot day, the everyday kind where you're just slightly thirsty, all the time, and you've gotten used to it. Most people over 60 think they understand water. Drink 8 glasses a day. Simple, right? But here's what's actually happening inside your joints. Your cartilage is roughly 75% water. Not metaphorically, literally. The gel-like substance that cushions every movement you make. Your knees when you walk, your hips when you sit down, your shoulders when you reach for something. All of it is held together by water molecules. When you're chronically dehydrated, and by chronic I mean every single day, all day, your body starts pulling water from less critical areas to maintain your blood volume and your organs. Your joints are not critical for immediate survival. Your heart is. Your brain is. So guess where the water gets pulled from? Exactly. Your cartilage becomes less hydrated, less cushioned, stiffer. And when cartilage is stiff, every movement creates more friction. More friction creates more inflammation. More inflammation accelerates the breakdown of the cartilage itself. The Mayo Clinic published a study in 2019 showing that adults over 60 who maintained proper hydration had significantly less joint pain and greater mobility than those who were chronically dehydrated. The group that stayed properly hydrated, drinking closer to 3 liters a day rather than the mythical 8 glasses, reported 23% less joint pain over a 12-week period. 23%. That's substantial. I had a patient, Richard, 75 years old. He came in with terrible knee pain. He was taking ibuprofen daily, avoiding stairs, not playing golf anymore. I asked him how much water he was drinking. He laughed. "Doctor," he said, "I'm not thirsty." That was the problem. After 60, your thirst mechanism gets duller. You can be dehydrated and not feel thirsty at all. Richard was drinking maybe 4 cups of water a day, the rest coffee, tea, maybe a glass of wine at dinner. I told him to commit to drinking a liter of water before noon, another liter between noon and dinner, and half a liter after. Just a simple formula. He did it. 6 weeks later, he was walking upstairs without wincing. 3 months in, he was back on the golf course. The fix is straightforward. Carry a water bottle with you, not occasionally, consistently. I recommend my patients over 60 drink 1 ounce of water for every 2 pounds of body weight. If you weigh 180 pounds, that's 90 ounces a day. That's about 2.5 liters. Spread it throughout the day, morning, midday, evening. And here's the part people miss. Coffee, tea, and alcohol are diuretics. They make you lose water. They don't count. Water counts. Does this mean if you have a cup of coffee, you'll destroy your joints? No. But if coffee is your primary beverage and water is an afterthought, you're already behind. What's your actual water intake on a typical day? Are you guessing, or do you actually know? Habit number 2, prolonged sitting. And I know what you're thinking. Sitting is rest. Sitting is safe. You're not straining yourself when you're sitting. This is one of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves after 60. Your joints are not designed to be static. They're designed to move. Motion. That's what keeps cartilage healthy. Here's what happens when you sit for long periods. Your hip flexors, the muscles in the front of your hip that bend your leg, they shorten and tighten. Your glute muscles, the largest muscles in your body that support your hips and knees, they become inactive and weaker. Your knees are bent at 90 degrees for hours, and all the while, your cartilage isn't being bathed in fresh synovial fluid. Synovial fluid. This is the lubrication inside your joints. It's like motor oil in an engine. When your joints move, they produce synovial fluid. The more you move, the more fresh fluid circulates through your cartilage. It delivers nutrients. It removes waste products. When you sit motionless for 6 hours straight, that fluid stagnates. Your cartilage stops getting fed, and the inflammation markers in your synovial fluid start to accumulate. A study from Northwestern University in 2021 tracked adults over 60. They found that those who sat for more than 8 hours a day had accelerated cartilage degeneration compared to those who stood, walked, and moved throughout the day. But here's the part that surprised people. It wasn't about intense exercise. It was about accumulated movement. People who got up every 30 minutes and moved for just 5 minutes, walked to the kitchen, did some gentle stretching, climbed a flight of stairs, had significantly healthier joints than those who sat in unbroken blocks of 3, 4, 5 hours. I think of an operating room. Surgeons don't stand in one spot for 8 hours straight. They shift, they move, they stretch between cases. Why? Because the human body is meant to move. After 60, your body is even more dependent on regular movement to keep your joints healthy. I had a patient, Dorothy, who was a retired librarian. She'd spend 8-9 hours a day reading in her favorite chair. She developed severe hip and knee pain, couldn't walk her grandchild to school. We didn't do surgery. We changed her habit. She committed to standing and moving every 30 minutes. She'd stand, do some gentle leg lifts, walk around the house, then return to reading. It took weeks, not days, but her pain dropped dramatically. The fix is this. Set a timer on your phone. Every 30 minutes, get up. It doesn't need to be intense. A 2-minute walk, some gentle leg swings, climbing a flight of stairs. Stand while you're on phone calls. Walk while you're thinking through a problem. Your body doesn't know the difference between a structured workout and accumulated movement. It just knows, am I moving or am I static? After 60, chronic stillness is a threat to your joints. Serious threat. How many hours are you sitting on an average day without getting up? Honestly, can you track it? Habit number 3. Here's where people get defensive with me because I'm not telling you to never eat certain foods. But I am telling you what happens when, after 60, you're eating pro-inflammatory foods multiple times every single day. Pro-inflammatory foods. Let me define this clearly. These are foods that trigger your immune system to activate inflammatory responses in your body. When you're 30, your body has powerful mechanisms to manage that inflammation and move on. After 60, those mechanisms have slowed down. Inflammation that should resolve in a few hours can linger for days. Inflammation from last week can still be burning in your joints. The main culprits are ultra-processed foods with refined carbohydrates and seed oils. Vegetable oil, soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil. I know these sound innocuous. They're in every restaurant, every packaged food, every frozen meal. But when these oils are heated or processed, they create compounds called advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These are literally age-accelerating compounds. They trigger inflammatory pathways in your body. Your joints feel this. Your arteries feel this. Your organs feel this. Sugar and refined carbohydrates, white bread, pastries, regular soda, even many breakfast cereals. They spike your blood sugar rapidly. When blood sugar spikes, your body releases a cascade of stress hormones and inflammatory mediators. One spike once a week might be fine. But if you're spiking your blood sugar 3 times a day, every day, you're essentially keeping your inflammation engine running constantly. The Harvard School of Public Health conducted a study in 2022 looking specifically at adults over 60. They compared those eating a high-inflammatory diet to those eating a low-inflammatory diet. The high-inflammatory group had 3 times more joint pain and significantly greater cartilage deterioration over 2 years. 3 times more pain. From food. I had a patient, Harold, 71. He came to me with severe osteoarthritis in both knees. He couldn't walk his dog anymore. Taking the stairs was agony. His breakfast was a bagel with cream cheese and orange juice. Lunch was usually a sandwich from a deli on white bread. Dinner was often takeout, fried chicken or Chinese food with vegetable oil. I sat down with him and asked him to do an experiment. For 8 weeks, I asked him to eat foods that are naturally anti-inflammatory. Olive oil instead of vegetable oil, real vegetables, wild-caught salmon, berries, nuts. Not a strict diet, but a deliberate shift. He was skeptical, but his wife was supportive, so he tried. 8 weeks in, his pain dropped by 60%. He was walking his dog again. After 4 months, he was playing tennis. This wasn't surgery. This wasn't medication. This was removing the inflammatory fuel that was burning his joints down every single day. The fix is not perfection. It's a deliberate shift in the ratio. Start eating more of what calms inflammation. Olive oil, wild-caught fish rich in omega-3s, colorful vegetables, berries, nuts, and seeds. Start eating less of what ignites it. Seed oils, refined carbohydrates, sugary drinks, and ultra-processed foods. If you usually have a soda with lunch, replace it with water or unsweetened tea. If your snack is usually a pastry, try a handful of almonds. These aren't small changes at the margins. They're foundational to how your body manages inflammation after 60. When you look at your typical week of meals, are you building them around anti-inflammatory foods, or are they mostly on the periphery? Habit number 4, inadequate sleep. And I'm not talking about the occasional bad night. I'm talking about a chronic pattern of getting 6 hours or less, night after night, year after year. Here's what most people don't understand about sleep after 60. Your sleep is already shallower. You wake up more often. You don't have the deep, restorative sleep you had at 40. So when you're deliberately cutting sleep short, you're cutting into a supply that's already diminished. You're operating at a serious deficit. During sleep, specifically deep sleep, your body enters a restorative state where it's actively healing damaged tissues. This includes your joints, your cartilage, your synovial fluid. Growth hormone increases. Inflammatory markers decrease. Your immune system resets. When you're sleep deprived, this restorative window shrinks. You're essentially forcing your body to limp through the day on fumes, and your joints are paying the price because they're not getting their nightly repair window. Sleep deprivation also increases cortisol, your stress hormone. Elevated cortisol is pro-inflammatory. It tells your immune system to amp up inflammatory responses. Chronic sleep deprivation, therefore, is like keeping your inflammatory engine revved all day and all night. Your joints are burning with inflammation while you're asleep because you're not sleeping deeply enough. A landmark study from the University of North Carolina published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine in 2020 tracked over 2,000 adults over 60. Those getting 6 hours of sleep or less had significantly higher markers of joint inflammation and reported twice as much joint pain as those consistently getting 7 to 9 hours. Twice as much pain from sleep. I had a patient, Susan, 74 years old. She'd always been a light sleeper, but in her 60s it got worse. She was waking up 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a night. She'd be up at 5:30 in the morning, exhausted, and she'd spend the rest of the day managing the pain in her hands and feet. Arthritis, she figured, just getting old. But I asked her, "How much sleep are you actually getting?" She'd go to bed at 10, wake at 5:30. But with the interruptions, she was probably getting 4.5 hours of actual sleep. 4.5. I talked to her about sleep hygiene. No screens an hour before bed, a cool, dark bedroom. She started taking magnesium, helps with sleep quality. She talked to her doctor about a small dose of melatonin if needed. She committed to being in bed by 9:30 to give herself more opportunities for good sleep. Within 3 weeks, her sleep quality improved noticeably. She was waking less, sleeping longer, and her joint pain, the pain she'd accepted as just aging, started to decrease. By 2 months, she was reporting significantly less pain in her hands. At 3 months, she was able to do gardening again without her hands aching for hours afterward. The fix is to prioritize sleep after 60 like you're in training for something important. Because you are. You're training for a life without chronic pain. Here's what I recommend. Aim for 7 to 9 hours in bed. Don't aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Aim for that amount of time in bed because you'll lose some to waking. Keep your bedroom cool, around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Dark. Use blackout curtains if needed. Remove screens from your bedroom. No TV, no phone charging on the nightstand. If you wake in the night and can't fall back asleep within 15 minutes, get up and do something quiet until you feel sleepy again. Are you getting 7 to 9 hours of actual sleep most nights? Or are you one of the millions after 60 running on 5 or 6 and accepting it as normal? Habit number 5, and this one is crucial: neglecting strength and mobility work. Now listen carefully. I'm not saying you need to go to the gym and do intense weight training, but I am saying that after 60, your muscles and connective tissues need intentional, consistent work to stay healthy. And when you neglect this, your joints pay the price. Here's the reality. Your muscles are the shock absorbers around your joints. Your quadriceps, the muscles on the front of your thigh, they support and stabilize your knee. Your glutes, your hip muscles, they stabilize your pelvis and reduce stress on your lower back, hips, and knees. When these muscles weaken, the load shifts directly onto your cartilage. Your cartilage doesn't have the muscular support it needs, so every step, every bend, every movement creates more stress directly on the joint itself. After 60, you lose muscle mass faster than you did at 30 or 40. This is sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. If you're not actively working to maintain and build muscle, you're losing roughly 3 to 8% of your muscle mass per decade after 60. That's substantial. And as your muscles weaken, your joints have to work harder. The cartilage wears faster. Pain increases. And many people respond to that pain by moving less, which accelerates the muscle loss further. It's a vicious cycle. Mobility work, stretching, gentle yoga, tai chi, is equally important because it keeps your joints moving through their full range of motion. Cartilage needs this movement to stay healthy. If you don't move your hip through its full range of motion regularly, your hip gets tighter, your movements become more restricted, and the cartilage in that joint degenerates faster. It's like a door that's not being used. The hinges get rusty. A study from Tufts University in 2019 followed 480 adults over 60. Half did resistance training and mobility work twice a week. The other half did neither. After 18 months, the exercise group had significantly less joint pain, better mobility, and faster walking speeds. But here's the part that matters most. The exercise group had less cartilage degeneration on imaging. They were actually reversing the damage. The sedentary group continued to degenerate. I had a patient, James, 68 years old, retired accountant, spent decades sitting at a desk. Now he couldn't sit cross-legged. His hips were so tight he had trouble getting in and out of a car. His knees ached. I asked him, "Are you doing any strength or flexibility work?" "Nothing," he said, "just walking sometimes." I referred him to a physical therapist who specialized in older adults. The therapist gave him a simple program, 20 minutes, 4 times a week. Some resistance band work for his legs and hips, body weight movements like modified squats and step-ups, and daily stretching, nothing extreme, just moving his joints through their ranges. After 4 weeks, he could sit cross-legged on the floor with his grandchildren. After 8 weeks, he was getting in and out of his car easily. His knee pain had dropped significantly. He wasn't just managing pain, he was gaining function back. And he wasn't spending hours in the gym, 20 minutes a day. Consistency. The fix is to do 2 things. First, add some resistance work. This doesn't mean weights. Resistance bands, body weight movements, water aerobics, these all work. Twice a week, targeting your legs, hips, shoulders, and core. Second, stretch daily, even 10 minutes. Hip openers, hamstring stretches, shoulder rolls, gentle back extensions. Move every joint through its full range of motion intentionally. This is not optional after 60. It's as essential as breathing. Are you currently doing any structured strength or flexibility work? Or are you hoping that daily walking is enough to maintain your joint health? Let me step back for a moment. Look at these 5 habits together. Dehydration, prolonged sitting, pro-inflammatory foods, poor sleep, neglected strength and mobility. What do they have in common? They're all habits of inaction, of taking things for granted, of assuming that after 60, decline is inevitable, so why bother? But here's what I see in the operating room. I see bodies that have been used well and bodies that have been neglected. And I see something that nobody talks about. The bodies that have been used well recover better, heal better, live better. Every single one of these habits is reversible. Not overnight, but absolutely reversible. Your body, even after 60, even at 80, wants to heal. It wants to rebuild. But it needs the right conditions. Hydration, movement, good food, sleep, strength. These aren't luxury items. They're the foundation. When all 5 of these habits are neglected simultaneously, which, let's be honest, is the default for many people after 60, the damage compounds. Your inflammation stays high. Your cartilage degenerates fast. Your muscles atrophy. Your sleep worsens, which increases inflammation, which makes movement harder. So you sit more, which worsens dehydration and muscle loss. It's a downward spiral. But it works the other way too. Fix your hydration, you sleep better. Sleep better, your inflammation drops. Lower inflammation, movement doesn't hurt as much. Move more, your muscles strengthen. Stronger muscles protect your joints. It's an upward spiral. This is the truth that doesn't make it to your doctor's office. Okay, here's your action plan. 5 things. Simple swaps, nothing extreme. 1. Commit to proper hydration. 1 ounce per 2 pounds of body weight daily. That's your baseline. If you weigh 180 pounds, 90 ounces. That's roughly 2.5 liters. Spread throughout the day. Water counts. Coffee doesn't. 2. Stand and move every 30 minutes. Set a timer. Get up. Walk. Stretch. Even 2 minutes interrupts the stagnation. Your joints need this more than you realize. 3. Shift your food toward anti-inflammatory choices. Olive oil instead of vegetable oil. Vegetables instead of processed carbohydrates. Fish instead of fried foods. This isn't all or nothing. It's a shift in ratio. 4. Protect your sleep. 7 to 9 hours in bed. Cool, dark, no screens. This is non-negotiable after 60. 5. Add strength and mobility work. 20 to 30 minutes, 2 to 4 times weekly. Resistance bands, body weight. Stretching daily. This preserves the muscle that protects your joints. Here's what I need you to hear. Information without action is just anxiety. You can watch this video, nod your head, feel convinced, and do nothing different tomorrow. And nothing will change. You have to do the work. You have to make the swaps. Not perfectly, but consistently. Pick 1 habit to start with, not all 5 at once. Pick 1. Master it for 2 weeks, then add the next. This is how real change happens. I want to tell you about a patient. Let me call her Catherine. She came to me at 76 and she was convinced she was done. Done with being active. Done with enjoying life without pain. Done with the future. She had joint pain everywhere. Knees, hips, shoulders. She'd been sedentary for years. Drinking coffee all day instead of water. Eating processed foods. Sleeping poorly. Not moving intentionally. She was a textbook case of all 5 habits converging into a painful decline. Her daughter brought her to me. And I looked at Catherine and I said something I meant. You're not done. You're not declining. You're just living in a way that makes decline inevitable. And if you change that, your body will respond. She was skeptical, but she was desperate. So she did the work. She started hydrating properly. She moved every 30 minutes without fail. She changed her diet, not perfectly, but deliberately. She protected her sleep like it was medicine. And she started doing gentle resistance and mobility work with a physical therapist. It took 3 months before she really noticed a difference. 3 months, not 3 weeks, not 3 days. 3 months of consistency before her body said thank you and started to heal. But then it happened. Her pain began to decrease. Her range of motion improved. She could walk her grandchildren to school again. At 1 year, I barely recognized the difference in her presentation. She wasn't just managing pain, she was thriving. She was hiking with her husband. She was in a book club that met at coffee shops around town. She told me, "Dr. Cooper, I had written myself off. I thought I was just getting old, but I was just living badly." That stuck with me. I was just living badly, not aging badly, living badly. And the moment she changed how she lived, everything changed. I share Catherine's story because I want you to know something important. You still have all your options, even at 60, even at 70, even at 80. Your body hasn't stopped listening to what you ask of it. It's still capable of healing, of rebuilding, of becoming stronger. But you have to ask. You have to take action. The question isn't whether you can change. The question is whether you will. That's entirely within your control. Okay, before you leave, I have 3 asks for you. First, which of these 5 habits hit you hardest? Which one made you think, "Oh, that's me"? Drop it in the comments, I read them. I want to know which one resonates most for you, because your answer tells me what's actually happening in your life. Second, if you know someone over 60, a parent, a friend, a family member, who's struggling with joint pain or mobility, share this with them. Not because I want more views, but because they deserve to know this. They deserve to know it's not inevitable, that it's reversible. Third, like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you find value in this kind of insider information, what I see in the operating room, what I've learned over 3 decades, hit that subscribe button. It helps me keep making these videos for you. And here's the important part. Everything I've shared with you today is general information. It's not personal medical advice. Talk to your own doctor before you make significant changes to your exercise routine, your diet, or your sleep medications. Your doctor knows your specific situation. I don't. So have that conversation. You have the power to change this. Not next month, not next year. Now. Today. Pick one habit, make one swap, and then do it again tomorrow. I'm Dr. William Cooper. Thank you for watching. Take care.